Hi, can everyone hear me at all? Can you comment if you can hear me? That would be great. Hi, can everyone comment if you can hear me okay? Or if you can't hear me at all before we get started? That would be really helpful. I'm gonna just comment. Yay, perfect. Okay, hi everyone. For those of you who are subscribed, you guys know me already, but if you don't, my name's Imani. Um, and I'm 20. I'm just gonna start out with all these facts that I usually get. Oh, California, cool. I love LA. But where are you from? But anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. But my hair, I'm like sitting like this because a lot of people don't really know how long my hair actually is, so they don't really show it in videos. So for reference, it's about almost to my belly button. See, right there. And oh, cool, Boston. I love Boston and Georgia. I'm back home right now. I'm from Atlanta, so Georgia has a soft spot in my heart. And with my hair, I've dyed it. What part of Florida? Cool. I've dyed my hair about, hmm, I'd say 5 times. I usually get that question, and I've had my locks for almost 10 years now. And my hair is 25 inches long, and I currently do use oils and things like that to moisturize my hair. And I usually tell people not to go right ahead and do that initially if they have younger locks, because the younger your locks are, the more easily your locks will unravel. And so basically adding too much moisture, like oils or leaving conditioners too often without banding your hair, will lead to slippage, which isn't something that everyone wants, because that's essentially when your lock starts to thin out and then it can break off. Oh, cool. So for a little over 2 years. I remember that phase for me when I think I was 12 around that time. Yeah, and I used to swim competitively for a good amount of my childhood. So that meant that my hair really wouldn't lock as fast as most people's because I was always in the water. But my hair ended up locking, I would say, after 3 or 4 years completely. How young is too young? Are you asking how young is too young to get locks? Because for me, I kind of like explain that in my what is it? My sisterlocks tag. How I feel like I was chill with it because my mom. I just want to be like my mom. My mom's like the coolest person ever, and she came home one day and she just had um, locks, and I asked her if I could get them, and she said yeah. So no to use products. Well, I feel like it depends on what products you're talking about, because also oil, you don't have to put it throughout all of your hair. Everyone's hair is different, and my hair is super dry. But I would say you can definitely use oils at the root of your scalp, just to make sure your scalp is moisturized, because your roots are the foundation of your locks. If you have weak hair, your hair is going to be more brittle and hard to actually maintain, I would say, going forward. But in terms of like leave-in conditioners, like I said, you can use those things. I wouldn't do that like the first year or anything like that. Don't get crazy. But I would say like band your hair whenever you would do anything like that. Because I remember when I did the banding technique, and I'll admit I wasn't the most religious about it. Um, I would more so focus it like throughout the hair and not always like on the ends, because when you wash it out, it'll go through. PR video on replay. Oh yes, yes, yes. I love that video. Does anyone else have any other questions? Oh, cool. You've had your sister locks for almost a year now. That's so cool. You have a dry scalp, so oils on my scalp would be nice. Yeah, of course. No, seriously. I used to struggle with dandruff actually. And I have very dry skin, not just my scalp, but throughout my body. Like I used to struggle with eczema. So for me, I like this kind of goes into the skincare part. Eating really clean helps a lot. And also I use body butters that are not scented, or if they're scented, it's like natural oils and things like that, because it really helps with eczema. And I don't know if everyone like has it or knows what it is, but it's essentially just dry patches on your skin. And I have flare ups when my skin's too dry. So I like to stay hydrated, and I like to always use shea butter. you know, how many locks do you have? I have somewhere between 700 and 800 locks. They're a lot. I actually also retighten my hair on my own. I'm not a consultant, so that's something that I usually get a question about. I learned how to do retightenings on my own from a consultant that started my locks, and then I went off to school. I also travel a lot, so I needed the freedom to be able to actually maintain my own hair, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people struggle with when they first get sister locks. Is you have to find a consultant wherever you are, and if you're a person that travels often, you can't always be as up to date with the amount of time you should get the retightening, you know. I had a little bit of essential oils to just. Oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah, that's good with spritzing it with distilled water. And I would say, like, because your locks, Cynthia, are about, you said, almost a year now. Yeah, spritzing it should be fine. Just like don't do it too often. And if I remember correctly, around a year. And also depends on your hair pattern or texture. So I have 4A, 4B hair. So that means my curls or waves are like a lot tighter than somebody who has 3 type hair. So having those essential oils and distilled water for us, I think, is fine if it's a little bit more often than usual, but also you can relax a little bit when your hair actually does get locked. In something else, yeah, no, it does take a while for me to retighten my hair, but honestly, I'm such a homebody. I usually use that as an excuse to not hang out with people on the weekends. If I really wanted to sit down and I did retighten my hair within the recommended 6 to 8 weeks, so my hair wouldn't be crazy long, I could honestly finish my hair in about 6 to 7 hours. And that's if I really put my mind to it. But I like to use that as an excuse for like self care and just chilling out. So I usually just pop on a couple of really good movies. Just said was that it was around 400 to 500. Um, I don't. I never separated my locks to answer your question. Like I just had that many. That's how many my consultant put into my hair, and I have had my locks for anyone who's just coming on for almost about 10 years now. And I feel like back then consultants would install more locks, and I think it was a little cheaper. I mean, it was still expensive, and my mom doesn't remember the pricing. But from what I've heard, everything just gotten more expensive, but the amount of locks that they put in your hair are smaller and I mean bigger. And my hair has never been my locks have never been separated. Do I experience breakage because of the size of my locks? No, I think that's a misconception that a lot of consultants try to sell to people who are going to get their locks started by them. And I don't know why that is. And I don't mind it. I think all sizes of locks are really pretty and everything, but I don't think personally on myself I would have liked my locks to be bigger, if that makes any sense. And then on top of that, you guys would be so surprised. My mom has, I would say, almost easily 800 to 900 or more locks in her hair, you know? And that's a lot. And also, everyone asks me, when are you guys gonna have your family in it? My mom and my twin sister have sister locks as well. Just a little background. And they're gonna be in a video very soon on my YouTube channel. It's just I haven't done that because I'm never home. Like I said, I travel. I'm a college student, so I'm actually finally home and we're all in one place. So that video is gonna be coming out very soon. And my mom's hair is about it's actually longer than mine to give you guys like a perspective. And her hair is black, and my sister's hair is black as well. So yeah, and yeah, I agree. I think it's a marketing thing. I think, and not that every consultant is that way. I just think that they're kind of getting lazier because, to be honest with you, I hate retightening my own hair. So I can get not wanting to install too many locks in somebody else's hair because that's essentially your job. But I mean, I feel like you should cater to the person that is your client. But again, I'm not a consultant, so that's not something I've ever really been like concerned about, you know? But I still say all sizes and shapes are beautiful. The one thing I really like about Sister Locks, well, I love so many things about them, but is that everyone's locks are going to look different. So keep that in mind when you're looking at my hair right now. Your hair is not going to look exactly like mine when it gets to the like the end of the journey where I'm at right now. So a lot of people have different phases, you know, starter locks, and then when they're starting to mature, so like teenage locks where they still look kind of like the shape of your hair, you know, like kind of almost like an afro, which I miss that stage in my locks, to be honest with you, because now when your locks are mature, like mine, they condense. And also to give you all an idea of why my hair is the way it is right now today, I tried a new method of curling, and I also had done a twist out the week before. So essentially, my hair is not as voluminous as it usually is right now because I just manipulated it so much. But the really good thing about it when your locks are mature is your volume goes back after you essentially shower and wash it and do all that good stuff. So that's not something to be concerned about. But for me, I think the way that I just curled it, they're called spoolies. I'm going to do a video on that too. Um, my hair takes to the curl differently because my hair is so long, so it takes longer to dry. And I feel like the longer your hair is, your curls don't, they're not as defined. Like, for example, my hair in the front is layered, and you can still see that it's still curled. And I did this about 2 or 3 days ago. It's still more curled, but then the bottom just kind of looks straight, right? If you like certain curlers that you have, if they aren't super tight, the longer your hair gets, the looser your curls are going to be and the faster your curls come out. So that's one thing that kind of sucks about having long locks, but also it's not just a lock specific thing. I feel like that's something that a ton of people have, when they have long hair. Your curls just don't stay for as long. So that's one downside. I was considering cutting my hair, but I don't think I'm going to cut it for a while because I'm finally at a length that I really like. I think it looks really good, but this hair is hot. Keep that in mind. And I live in the South, so this summer is going to be really interesting with all that. But that gives me an excuse to do more hairstyles that I can also upload. So I'm going to take this time to see if anyone has any questions who's just joined, but I'll just keep talking. Oh, so also another thing, people ask me about my skincare routine a lot. And this is not to sound like super, I don't know how to put it, but I'm very conscious about my eating habits and I'm conscious about my health. So I always work out. So in a roundabout way, what I'm telling you is a lot of my skincare routine, I can be really admitted to the fact that my parents don't really have like acne or anything like that. And I don't have on makeup right now, just to put that into perspective. So my family, we don't really have acne problems. More so for me, it's dry skin. So good genetics. You can just put that to why my skin is pretty nice. Secondly, I eat very healthy. And when I say very healthy, I try to have a very limited amount of sugar. You're not supposed to have more than about 50 grams of sugar a day. And people always think that just because fruits grow and they're organic and things like that, that you can just eat a whole bunch of it. Fruit has a lot of sugar as well, even though you're not getting it in processed sugars. So be very conscious about what you're putting into your body, because that's one reason why my hair is so thick. That's one reason why my skin is so clear. And it also just makes you feel good. And then also going to the gym if you can. If you can't go to the gym, do at-home workouts, because you really need to take care of your insides in order for your outsides to look good. So, like I said, genetics, health, and that can be broken down into eating and workout habits. So that's one reason why I would say baseline, I have pretty good skin. And then everything after that, I use really good products on my skin. So I use, and I can put these in the description box below, but I'm also going to make a video very soon about it anyway. There is, I think, Neutrogena, grapefruit. It has salicylic acid in it. So salicylic acid is really, really good for getting rid of just blemishes and even evening out your skin tone. It's not like a pungent acid. It's not going to burn your face off. It's something that dermatologists actually recommend. And in small doses, it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to answer some of these questions, and then I can get back to skincare if you guys are interested in that. Okay, so the layers. Okay, what stage did you get the layers? Oh, okay, so my layers are actually accidental. This is not, I personally wouldn't have actually done this, but it works, so I'm fine by that. But one reason why my hair is layered is because of the fact that when I swam, because I used to swim competitively for years, almost 9 years, and I started my locks while I was still swimming. I think that my hair was more damaged at the end. So you know how people can still technically relax their hair or have relaxed hair and then get sister locks and then you're transitioning. So I would say about these are the final ends because I've trimmed my hair before of what I would say is like my transitioning phase out of my hair being kind of damaged and dry before I actually knew how to start taking care of it. And then everything else is starting to be more one length, if that makes any sense. So my layers are actually accidental and also from me being stupid sometimes and putting too much moisture in my hair to cause slippage. And that was before I knew how to fix it. And if you guys are interested in knowing how to fix your slippage on your own, definitely comment in this video so that I can like make a note after of what things you guys are actually interested in knowing for YouTube videos hair related wise. And I think I wish, like Cynthia is saying, she wished she got her hair cut in layers before her installation. I wish that I'd cut my hair evenly before my installation so that all my hair would be one length. I think it looks really pretty. My mom has super pretty long locks. Her locks are slightly longer than mine. I'm pretty sure they're tailbone length now. I just trimmed her hair this morning. And it's everything's homogeneous, so it's the same length, which looks really good too. But I like all the looks. Um, did I dye my hair myself? Yeah, I did. I every time that I've dyed my hair, either my mom's helped me. That was the beginning time. I think the first time I did that was maybe 5 years ago. But now I do it on my own. This recent hair that you're seeing, I've done on my own. And there's also a YouTube video on my YouTube channel about how I did it at home safely. And since I've dyed it, I haven't really had any breakage. I wouldn't say correlated to me having dyed my hair. So definitely, again, I know I keep saying this, but I'm serious. Like in the summer, I'm going to be so much more active on YouTube. So that's another video that I plan on making, just an update on how my hair is taken to dyeing it at home and making sure that I can give you guys tips on how to maintain your hair if you decide to go ahead and dye your hair at home as well. Because I didn't dye my hair with a bleach either. People think that you have to have bleach in order to lighten your hair, and you don't. You just have to do it in steps. Um, how long into your journey did you begin to dye your hair? Yeah. Okay, yeah, for sure I'll do the slippage. And I would say, okay, so if I was in high school, I would say 5 years ago. So after 5 years, that was the first time I dyed my hair. hmm Yeah. And then, oh, also something else that I do, I don't, when I retighten my hair by myself, wait, when I do, not don't, but when I do, I don't use the sister lock tool. And I think a lot of people know what that looks like if you go to an actual consultant. So those are the things that look like crochet needles. Um, I don't use that. I think it's called the nappy lock tool. And essentially it's a blunted needle. Kind of think about a needle that you use for threading your hair, but not quite that. So like you thread your hair through it, and then I do the 4-point rotation because I have 4 type hair. I know how to do the 3-point rotation as well, but I feel like that one doesn't condense your locks as much, and I feel like if I started doing that, it would be too drastic as it started to grow out and transition from 3 to 4. But also, consultants have different reasons for starting people on different rotations as well. Yeah. So, what other questions do you all have? This is really great. I hope this is really insightful for people, especially now, because I'm thinking about what changes I want to do personally for my hair. Since one, it's summertime, and not just my hair, skin as well, because I have different regimens for different seasons and also different times in which I'm active. There are going to be so many videos on this, but like I was telling you all about just taking care of you on the inside, so eating healthy as well as working out and such, that also makes you sweat a lot. And then in the summertime, you're going to be sweatier anyway, and also it's more humid. So you have to take into account all the external elements, not only the internal elements of what your skin or hair is going to look like. And you have to change your diet and your routine, but also your hair care routine, specifically to that. What do you mean by condensed locks? Okay, so Daphne, how am I going to explain this? So, because I just have my hair's mature. I'm trying to show you. Okay, so I'm going to take one lock out. I don't know how good the quality is right now, but do you see how my lock right here, there's literally zero to no fuzz surrounding it. Like, just take a look at it really quickly. So what that means, it's less frizzy. And when you look at people who have just started their sister locks, you always see that their ends aren't locked. Does that make sense? So they aren't locked fully, and you can still see like ends of their hair regardless. And condensing is essentially as your locks mature, they become more locked and they become tighter. So they go from being tight and stringy to being expanded because your hair is trying to get into this locked form, and then they go back and condense together. So essentially, those are exactly those three phases of the locking process. You have the installation, which your hair at first looks really stringy, and then you start noticing you get all this volume. That's when it starts to expand. Stage two, teenager locks, and then mature locks are when they condense, or they're not like, yeah, just like DNA. Yeah. That you got it. So that's like what I describe my hair as, like mature, because you, if you even look through Instagram and you go through the sister locks hashtag or something, you'll see journeys where it's like full and cute, and I think every part of the journey looks great. But then you'll see people like me who have had their locks for so long that they're condensed. So let me know if I didn't explain that well, but if I did, I hope that was good. You do self tightening as well, and I'm typically using 3 point rotation, but not sure what the 4 point rotation is. Oh, okay, so the 4 point rotation, also, if you can't understand what I'm talking about, I think you can look up interlocking method on YouTube to find that. But 4 point rotation is, I'm trying to think about it where it's not backwards on the screen. Okay, so I'm this way. Okay, so think of a clock. You insert the hook from 3 o'clock, pull it out so it's at 9 o'clock, and then you go under, up, and then left, right, down. So I'll just go around the clock. It's 3, 6, 9, 12. And the numbers I gave you are the numbers that you actually put in through your hair. I think that makes sense. Any tip for breakage at the ends? I've been locked for almost a year. Ooh, yes. Okay, so the biggest thing I would tell people, I don't know if you guys have gotten these before, but I'm trying to find one for you. But while I try to find one, in terms of breakage at the ends, you'll sometimes see little balls of hair at the end of your locks, and a lot of people tend to pick them off. Don't pick them off. Don't do that, because what that does is it starts making your hair unravel a little bit, and then that's going to make your hair uneven in the long run. Because I know we all love our locks. You're like, oh my god, I'm natural. Yes, yes, look at me. Like, it's great, and you want to touch your hair and it feels good, but try not to manipulate the end so much, because once you essentially take off that seal, which is the little bubbles, and I can't find one because I don't really do that ever on my hair. My hair is matured too. Um, you have little balls of hair. If you take that off, you're going to essentially open your hair up to it being able to be frayed. So think of like a split end on hair that isn't natural. When it's not healthy at the ends, it's going to start breaking in different directions. That's essentially what your hair is going to do if you keep ripping stuff from the bottom, but also over moisturizing it at the bottom. When you think about moisturizing your hair, and this also will help you with breakage at the ends, don't concentrate your moisturizer into the ends of your hair. I know when you have loose hair, and I'm going to coin that term right now, loose hair is when your hair is not locked. So your natural hair when it's not locked in afro, think that. And based on my knowledge, people want to saturate all of their hair with moisture. With locks, you should not do that. Don't don't do that, because it's going to unravel it, especially the younger that your locks are. Does that make sense? Tell me if that was helpful. Oh, I think I found one. Okay. Yeah, also my hair looks a little weird because I twisted it, but okay. So you'll see, okay, that right there. There's a little like bubble of hair that's really locked, and then you'll see there's like a gap in between of hair that looks like it could just break off. What you want to do is just let that, you can do two things. One, if you don't know how to correct slippage, because what that is for me at the end would be considered slippage if it was farther up my lock or up the lock shaft, is just leave it alone. But if you know how to fix slippage, you essentially spot treat that area. So sometimes when I'm bored or when I have the time to do so, if I feel like I have slippage going on, because you don't want it to get too out of control, because that's what causes breakage, you can just sit through your hair for a little bit and fix it. And I'll do a YouTube video on how to do breakage, because I think that that's something that it seemed to be a constant question that everyone else has. So right now, let me just take a break. Where are you guys from? Some of you all are telling me. I didn't realize I had so many people who watched like all around the country. That's cool. It's so cool. I'm from Atlanta, by the way, but I go to school in Pennsylvania. So the cities that I frequent often are Atlanta because it's home base, DC not too far away, and Boston because I have a ton of friends there. So I love Boston. I haven't been to California yet, but actually no, I have when I was younger. But I want to go now that I'm older and I can appreciate it more. And yeah, those are like some of my favorite cities, as well as New York. I feel like some people, based on my engagement, a lot of people are from New York, which is really cool. I frequent there as well because I have a lot of family who live there. My family background, we're Jamaican and Trini, and also from Barbados, or actually from all over, but those are the main three. So I love a good roti. You know, who eats Jamaican patties? If anyone knows about those hit different. I should definitely try that with the cocoa bread and other things of that nature. Hi. So let's see. What else can I talk about my hair for you all? Oh, one thing, edges. Yes, that's something that a lot of people tend to want to know about. So my edges are relatively dense, and this is like kind of 2 week old retightening. Oh, hometown in Maryland, but I went to med school in Florida. Oh, cool. You have a doctor here. That's interesting. Yeah, I couldn't be a doctor. I used to want to be a doctor, but right now in college, I'm actually studying government, French, and architecture. Three disciplines. I was able to make my own major, but I am focused in policy, so I could be like a policy analyst or a policy specialist, things of that nature. Those are so hard, but it's cool. I really like making a difference politically in the future. We'll see what happens, but I have a lot of other skills, but I also really love interior design. So that's also something else that I could see myself doing in the future. Yeah. Oh, but back to edges. Yes, my edges. So I feel like people definitely had to heard this by now, but preaching it, not I'm not just preaching this because I'm Jamaican, but Jamaican black castor oil will do the thing for you. Mix that up with some tea tree oil, some coconut oil, and some jojoba oil if you have that. That is the elixir of life for your edges. And also, do not, and I repeat, do not ever use a bonnet that's way too tight for your head. You know, some people when you see them with their bonnets, you can literally see those joints like sucking their foreheads back. That's too much. It shouldn't feel like a cap. If you're gonna wear it, it needs to be loose. But for me, I personally don't wear a bonnet. I don't get um, lints because that's one reason why people who have locks are always preaching use bonnets and things like that. But I don't use it, but I use a satin pillowcase instead, and I just make sure the material of my bedding and most of my clothes aren't lint based material. So cotton, you know, when cotton starts to get old and you can literally see the lint starting to come off, just avoid materials like that and you should be fine. And you can see in my hair right now, like I don't really have any lint. And you would think that me not using it would make me have it. And then also if you start getting lint, you can also use an ACV wash. Um, my mom started doing a certain one that was really good. It's not just apple cider vinegar, which is what an ACV wash is. But I'll definitely share that too. She's great. That's if my mom had a YouTube channel, y'all be like, Imani, I don't need your channel anymore. My mom is better. So yeah, I really enjoy the fact that I have edges. That was a really weird way to phrase that, but I like that I defy the stereotype. Something that I hear that actually cracks me up is when people say that if you have locks, the longer your locks get, the more your edges will recede. You know how like there would be those pictures of people usually with dreadlocks. Nothing wrong with dreadlocks or anything, but the one good thing about sister locks, well, one of the many good things is that they're so light. My hair is long, as you can see. It doesn't feel heavy ever. The only time it'll ever feel heavy is if I were to jump in a pool and have my hair in a ponytail because that's water. But dreadlocks in traditional locks, I usually like to call them traditional locks. They're usually heavier because they have to be retwisted with product most of the time. Most people use like locking butters and things like that, and that weighs down your hair, which then may or may not make your hairline recede just a touch. So I really think that um, not having to do that with sister locks is one of the best parts about keeping your edges very healthy. But my go-tos are silk. Well, not silk. I'm not that bougie. Also, you have oil on your hair. I mean, a satin pillowcase will definitely do the job. I don't know what this person is saying, but okay. Yeah. So, does anyone else have any other questions? Because I am here to answer them for an hour. Um, I think the intense palm rolling can also damage the hairline. I agree. I agree 100%. I think it's really cool when you see it being done because I can't do it. I mean, I can, but I've tried. I don't like the friction because I also maintain other people's locks at my school, like my college, because college students were broke. You know, we gotta help. We gotta help people out. Especially, I go to a PWI, so a predominantly white institution, so a school that's predominantly white essentially. And I'm also in Pennsylvania, and my school is about an hour and a half to 2 hours outside of Philly. And the area that we're in is very Amish. So, all that background being said, it's hard for people who have black hair to really know how to maintain it if they don't maintain it themselves. So, a lot of the students, the people of color, we all help each other out. So, I think it's really good skill to know how to do, just in case you know a little side hustle, or just be nice. I don't want anybody looking crazy on campus. I wouldn't want to look crazy. If you look good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you look good. So that's just something that I live by. But yeah. Also, does anyone else who has sister locks in this chat get asked if they're like Rastafarian or something? Like, why does everyone who has locks have to be Rastafarian? Nothing wrong with it, but I'm just like, geez Louise. And then if they hear that I'm Jamaican, they just stretch it. They go the extra mile with that. And I'm like, why? I just think it looks good and it's very versatile. If you comb your hair into a beard, you can fit what? Oh man, that's funny. I have never seen a black Amish person in my life. just to, just to be frank, I have never seen that. Oh, something that's really funny. We actually see them on the street in their buggies. Have you ever seen somebody in a horse's carriage trying to do a U-turn? Holds up traffic for about 20 minutes. It's just it's actually so funny. Yeah, I saw that too. I'm gonna just ignore it. I can't even do anything about that. We can all just ignore it. Um, I agree. I need to learn how to self retighten. Yeah, self retightening gives you a lot of freedom. You don't have to be scared. Also, even if you learn to self retighten and you want to keep your consultant, but you know when you start to get to a point where it's way past when you should be getting a retightening, like it's to the point where you can't even run your fingers through your hair. I know everyone has gone through that or will at some point. To be able to self retighten, you're able to at least make your edges and your exterior look good, you know? So even if I have something important like an interview or I just want to go to like a really fun special night out with friends, I can always make sure that I look good on the outside, even though my crown will be completely a hot mess. And that until I get to it, I get to it. How long does it take you to retighten your hair and how often do you tighten? So yeah, I try to be really good about it every 6 to 8 weeks, but the way my college schedule is set up and life and my other jobs, yeah, no, I don't always abide by that. That's why sometimes, at least at the bare minimum, if it's getting around to 8 weeks, I try to do the outside of my hair so that it doesn't look crazy and also so I can style it. So as far back as like my partings go, and then when I have the time, I'll go back and retighten everything, just so that it's all easy and all the same, like uniformity. Most people don't know I have locks. They always ask me, what are the. Yo, don't even get me started. The question of what are those mini dreads? I'm like, Who told you this? Why? Why? Like, especially when your locks are new or they're like teenager locks because they don't look like this. People are so confused. They just can't wrap their head around it. They're like, "What's in your head?" Or they ask you, "Are these like micro braids?" I'm like, "No, they're sister locks." And they're like, "Sister locks?" I'm like, "Yeah, I said sister locks." I don't know like what else you want me to tell you. Also, just like a complete tangent. That's one reason why I made this YouTube channel, in all honesty. I get so many questions about my hair between every time I go through TSA and I'm in like public. Like I don't even want to go outside sometimes because I always get asked questions about my hair. And you know, sometimes you're just antisocial. You're trying to get the one thing you came to the mall for, or your Apple products got messed up, so you gotta go fix that. And you're just a woman or a man on a mission, yet people always stop you, and sometimes they just want to be reaching for your hair and grabbing it. That's, let me not even get into that. That's a whole other issue with people in my hair that gets on my nerves sometimes. But if you ask politely and I'm not rushing, and also if I'm feeling super nice because I'm a bit of a germaphobe, I don't want you touching my hair. If I'm feeling it, you catch me on a good day, I'll let you touch it, because I know it's not, like some people like to say like it's a race thing. It's not a race thing at all, because people of all races, including Black people, have asked me to touch my hair. And I get it because sister locks are now just getting more popular. But since I'm one of the people that have had them for so long, you know, like people want to touch it, because before you put it on your head, especially like being a Black woman who might be considering getting sister locks, you want to see what the texture will feel like if you were to go natural. And I completely understand that. So I'm empathetic to it. It's just about the way that people approach me, you know? Like don't just like reach out for my hair. I'm not an animal. If you want a pet, go to the dog store or get some rescue puppy, because it ain't it. You're not touching me. I'm good. um, I get a lot of compliments from various races on my sister locks. Same, Cynthia. Same. And something that I find a little problematic, I mean, I love my sister locks and I love all forms of locks, but something I find a little problematic is, you know how people equate, well, sometimes they'll equate locks with your hair being unprofessional or something. But then just to take it an extra step further, has anyone else run into the problem where people will give you a backhanded compliment where they'll be like, "Oh, I like your locks because they don't look as big or as nasty as other locks." Or they try to basically, I don't know, like you have more palatable locks, and that rubs me the wrong way, because sometimes that's where some of those compliments stem from. And usually I just ignore it. But I feel like there's just this terrible stigma around the fact that other locks, if they aren't sister locks because they're tiny and they look so different, and I guess they're the most palatable form, are like frowned upon, and people just pretend like everyone else is like dusty. I'm like, they're not dusty. Odds are they probably wash their hair more than you do. So get out of my face. But yeah, I don't like when people do that, you know? Yeah, okay. I'm glad that is not, no, not, I didn't say that they say that my hair is nasty. They'll say that sister locks, after you explain to them what they are, they say in a way that they think that your locks are better than other forms of locks. Oh, okay, okay. I think we're all on the same page. It's just hard when we can't like have an actual like verbal conversation. But I'm glad I'm not the only person who's run into that problem, because that is that really rubs me the wrong way. And if I have time, sometimes I'll explain to them why they're wrong. You know, sometimes I have the energy, but no, most of the times I don't. Um, oh, but yeah, since we have people here, I was thinking about dyeing my hair again at the end of the summer, because I usually do it in intervals, and I don't know if I want to dye my hair lighter, like all around, or if I just want to go back to black. I haven't been black for a little over a year now. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do that. And before I dye my hair, I was thinking of trying like a temporary hair like dye option. I'm not saying like I don't, it doesn't have to be dye, but you know, kind of like chalk. I'm gonna like research it because I don't want my locks to fall off. These that would be terrible. But I want to see like what my options are just to try it, because if I want to do some type of color that isn't black or blonde or something like that, it would adhere a lot easier if my hair was still light. You know, I get positive compliments from various races about my sister locks. I'm glad that people of all races are complimenting your natural hair. Oh, wax dye? I have never heard of that. I will definitely add that to the list of things to consider. That would be really good, I think. Does it come off though? Like, it probably isn't permanent, but does it make your hair feel weird? If anything, I'll try these things on different strands of hair and then do a review on it. Oh, it's washable. Oh, I'll have to give it a shot. If you've tried it, leave a brand in the chat so I can go ahead and try that upon request. But I think that that would be fun. But other than that, we'll see how I'm feeling at the end of the summer. And then, okay, but you've seen videos on it. Okay, I'll give it a try. And then something else would be sticky, right? That's what I was thinking too, Daphne. But we'll see. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try. I have 700 plus locks on my head. If I try it on one or two, and that one gets messed up, hair grows back. I'll be okay. Um, and then what else? Oh, something else that I would say, because people call my hair like hair goals, and like I like my long hair, but sometimes it's a lot to manage. It really is sometimes. Like I said, in the summertime, it's not necessarily fun to always have all your hair because it's so thick, especially if you have thick hair before getting locks. Your locks only make your hair even more thick because sister locks are protective hairstyle in themselves. So your hair is going to be healthier by default. And I personally just like, because I'm kind of lazy, let's just be real. I don't like to really style my hair that often. And I also feel like if you manipulate your hair way too much, so, doing too many braid outs or twist outs, you're going to make your edges a little sparse. And that's not what I want. I'm too young to be bald headed. I hope I'm never bald headed. Nothing wrong with being bald though. I just have a peanut head, so I don't feel like I can really work that. But I feel like long locks, like they're pretty when you're the person who's not wearing it because there's a lot of maintenance that goes on with it. And I just do the bare minimum. I know some people who like their locks are essentially their second child, and I'm big ups to them because I couldn't do that. But also sister locks are like more or less um pretty easy to maintain apart from the retightenings. I feel like if I didn't retighten my hair myself, I probably wouldn't be complaining as much. But there's a gifts and curse about everything. What's the best way to wear 6 month sister locks when going to bed? Okay, let me think. Because it's been a minute. Daphne, could you tell me how long your hair is too? Because that would also be helpful. Because I think it depends on how long your hair is. So I'll get back to your question. And then Casper Geo 8. My hair is bra strap length, mid back, and I'm thinking of trimming now. I do want to get longer, but thought about a trim. Honestly, I say just let it grow a little more because that's the only reason why I haven't cut mine either. Let me show you what my hair looks like from behind because it's pretty long. Okay. Okay. Not but have my butt everywhere, but it's like this is my tailbone. Well, it's like about to be for my butt. It's like that long, so a little past. It's like lower back right now. That's how long my hair is. To put it in perspective, and I feel like it all depends on the look you're trying to go for. I personally haven't had my hair to my butt yet, and I've trimmed it a lot, which is why it hasn't gotten there yet. So I just have a personal goal where I just want to see what it looks like and see what styles I can do because you can do more braided styles when your hair is that long. But if you don't really like doing braids, I don't see why not to like trim it. But also, hair grows back, and also your beauty is not defined by the length, the thickness, or even if you have hair on your head at all. Beauty comes from the person and the swag that they omit. And I feel like a lot of people put way too much pressure on women, especially to feel like they have to have some hair or long hair to be considered very feminine and beautiful. That comes from who you are. The mind is sexy to me, at least, but beauty's an eye of the beholder. Um, I used to braid them at night, but realized that may not be the best thing to do. So I've been going to bed with them loose under a satin cap. Yeah, no, that's fine. Loose under a satin cap is fine. Also, I would say if you do your moisturizer routine, I say do that at night instead of the morning, because it gives your hair two things. One, it gives your hair time to really just suck up all that moisture, and then you're also going to have it in your bonnet. But also, when you first put those products in, you can sometimes feel it, like the ickiness of the oil or the conditioner or something. At least it gives you time for your hair to settle, so also it won't get on your clothes, the back headrest of your car seat, stuff like that. So I tend to always say, like you said, satin cap is fine. I always wear my hair loose, unless I'm trying to style it and do some type of curl, which rarely ever happens because I'm lazy. I only do it for this channel. I would say for sure what you're doing is fine. Satin cap, make sure it's not too tight on those edges. We want to still have edges and essentially just do all that. And then if you're doing that, then you're doing everything correctly. And then Chanel uses a satin pillowcase and a loose bun. I don't know if the loose bun is bad. I mean, I don't think the loose bun is bad actually. No, because I use a satin pillowcase as well, and because I can't stand having a hat on my head. I always end up ripping it off in the middle of the night when I used to try and wear satin caps. So a pillowcase or a satin cap is fine as long as you have some variation of satin. That's the best because cotton won't like give you the same moisture or allow your hair to maintain as much moisture, which ultimately makes your styles last longer and prevents breakage and slippage. So both of you are doing fine. I would say whichever one works for you, But personally for me, I can't do um a bonnet. I just can't. I always take it off. It's uncomfortable. There are people who made videos of putting wax dye on their sister locks, I think. Let's Journey did a video. Oh, okay. Thanks, Cynthia. I'll go and into that for sure. I feel like what else could you do? Because low buns probably aren't bad. Also depends on how long your hair is. For me, I was thinking about that for a second because my hair is so long that a low bun would feel like I would have a rock between my neck and my bed and I wouldn't be able to sleep personally because that's just a lot of hair to condense, wrap up, and then tie and go to bed. That's a lot for me. But again, like I've said, I am so lazy when it comes to hair maintenance. But hey, at least if you do the bare minimum like me, your hair will look nice, and then your hair will probably look better than mine if you want to do a lot more to your hair. But yeah, I personally love my locks because I feel like it kind of I think it's the best hairstyle to represent me, if that makes any sense. But also, to be fair, sister locks are essentially all that I remember having because I got my locks when I was about 10 or 11. So anything before that, I just remember always having to comb. Oh no, when your mom would palm your forehead? I don't know how your mom does it, but my Jamaican mom was heavy handed like no other. She would grab my forehead and I'd just be like, comb that way. No, 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 no. So having this is really good because I get to help myself out, because I can't. I'm tender headed. I don't know if anyone else is parents are like that, but having these, you can wake up and go essentially for 6 weeks, bare minimum, and it depends on how often you prefer to get your locks like retightened. You're speaking to me right now because I've really been struggling with my short hair. When I had loose hair, I had the freedom of adding extensions. Having sister locks and not being able to instantly have the length via extensions wig has really made me a bit self-conscious about my femininity. I just miss my long hair. The journey to growing out my locks is really testing my patience on all levels, even though I absolutely love the locks. Honestly, Daphne, I feel like everybody goes through that because I had a similar thing. Probably I didn't realize it until now that I take a couple steps back because I had my locks so young. But I even kind of like talked about this in my sister locks tag where people would make fun of me, especially when I was so young and your locks aren't like fully mature and it's just foreign. People are afraid of the unknown, and that's why I'm so happy that a lot more women are actually getting sister locks because it feels like there's an entire community and you're not going through that journey by yourself. And it causes shrinkage in the beginning because your hair could be so long when you stretch it, but essentially you can't really stretch out sister locks much like you can if your hair is loose. And that being said, essentially, like, especially in the Black culture, your hair, like, I don't even want to get into like colorism and other hair politics, but just in short, like, you're essentially going through a big chop, and that is such a big deal to everyone, I feel like, but especially in the Black community. Whenever you see like a very brave, courageous woman who is okay with either going with a mini fro or even just shaving like all their hair off, when you start your locks so short, it's to some extent like the sister lock version of the big chop, and it's such a huge transition, and it makes you be patient, but also, like I'm gonna keep preaching, makes you realize that your beauty comes from within. Also, if people are treating you differently because your hair is different, okay, they're first of all, it's your body. What is wrong with them? Second, why are they all up in your mess to the point where they're so concerned about what you have going on? And lastly, if they don't respect you because you don't look a certain way to them, that's honestly a blessing because they're doing you a favor by showing you their true colors. Even though it's coming through something as mundane as hair, that could have definitely shown how they act or the way that they carry themselves or their thoughts about you um in other ways. It could have just manifested in a different like scenario, but I'll try and like not talk about it too much. But honestly, that's why whenever I see a woman with short sister locks, I remember the little 10-year-old me remembers like what that was like, and it's hard. And I can only imagine if you're like a working professional as well and just being in the workplace. And honestly, even it's okay if you miss your hair too. You can also, put your hair in a wig if you want, or lace fronts and all that jazz. That's one thing that I really like about sister locks. They're so versatile. And that's something else that I was planning on doing this summer. I mean, I don't know if it'll work with my hair, but I used to be able to put my hair, like install crochet braids, and they looked really good. And that was when my hair was about like this long. So I can also just to give you all more options, because my hair is so much longer than a lot of people who are my subscribers. So I recognize that, which is why I've taken the time to make sure that I have the time this summer to be able to do hairstyles that can cater to you, even if it doesn't work for me, because it might work better because your hair isn't as thick and as full as mine because it's not that long. So yeah, I hope that helped. My hair is slightly longer than shoulder length. I can't wait until I get to your length. It's so fun. I love it and I hate it, but like I said, it's all about your preferences. But just know that it's just like another accessory. I like to whip it around sometimes, not gonna lie. Or you just feel the wind in your hair, but you can do that with your hair when it's like shoulder length or even like really short. I wrap my hair in a pineapple with a satin scarf and I use a satin pillowcase. Yeah, Casper, that's a really good point. When your hair is shorter, that's another really good way to do it because that's what people do when they have their hair loose. So when it's not locked. And that's also really good if you want to maintain curls overnight. So about like 2 or 3 day old curls, if you want to transition from wearing a bonnet, you can also put it in a pineapple and put a satin scarf around like your edges and stuff like that. My stepmother has short sister locks, and I think her hair is beautiful. Honestly, I love seeing people's faces because I feel like my hair. I also I wouldn't go as far to say it's like I hide behind it, but since it's so long, you can't really see my face like fully what it is. So, for example, I'll show you what it looks like with this. So, like this is what my head looks like, but it changes. It changes the perception of like how you're viewed because yeah, I have a lot of hair, but now you can actually see my face. And that's one thing that I really like about short locks actually, because you can actually see the person's face. I just think that it gives me like a window to understanding that person and not to be all spiritual or whatnot, but I really like looking at people's faces because they're so beautiful. I just think people are just beautiful. And that just makes me so happy. So when I'm like people watching, I don't know if anyone else does that, but I kind of just like to look because you can just kind of like see if the person's having a good day or a bad day sometimes. And if they're having a bad day, I'm usually that stranger to just come up to you and be like, "Hi, how are you?" Just just talk. But you don't have to put people on the spot. But also, I just think something that people don't do enough is acknowledge other people's humanity and their existence. And that was way too deep. I talk a lot, but essentially, what I'm saying is you shouldn't acknowledge all the extras about the person, the things that can be changed first before you acknowledge one, the inside, but two, also just like their face. Making eye contact and saying hello can go a long way, because I feel like, especially today with social media and everything being so accessible, we just don't connect enough as human beings like people would have without the distraction of technology. So people are starting to feel lonely for no reason, you know? And it's so simple. All you have to do is say hi to somebody, acknowledge them, because essentially a lot of things of why people like become depressed or they become sad about just like living is because they feel alone, and you shouldn't feel alone when the population is technically greater by billions than it was when technology wasn't something that caused globalization and the marketization of just the economies around the world to be so interconnected, you know. And I feel you, Casper, on the eye contact. It's so hard because first of all, I like you probably wouldn't guess it, but I'm so awkward. I am an introvert, and also this is gonna be the only explicit thing I say right now. I have a resting bitch face. So being awkward and having a resting bitch face, like people either think I'm mean off the bat, or like I'm just, and when I look away from you because I'm like awkward and I don't know what to do with it because I'm an introvert, it just makes like for a really weird situation. So I like challenge myself, especially this year, and I think I'm doing a lot better. Is just simply acknowledging people, especially since I go to college and it's a smaller college. Like we might not know each other's names, but we see each other because we walk or frequent the same paths because of our schedules. So you should like acknowledge and say hi. Also, if you're going out to eat or if you're ordering at a cash register, don't just start like paying or ordering your food. Acknowledge the server, acknowledge the hostess, acknowledge the cashier. Look them in the eye and say hello. And you know, when people say hi, how are you? Say I'm well, thanks. How are you? And people always look so shocked when I actually ask them how they're doing. Like I genuinely care. So enough of me like ranting about it, but yeah, society definitely lacks empathy, but I think that that is being fostered and perpetuated to the fact that people just are so focused on themselves. Capitalism and greed. But I wouldn't say capitalism is the only thing that's causing greed. I don't know. I sound way too intellectual right now. I'm sorry if like this is boring, but it is a little chit chat, and I think I want to do these like once a month just to see like where my followers are at and subscribers, because that's one reason why I decided to do this, was just because it's another way to interact with somebody else and make them feel acknowledged. People would be so much happier and feel more content and less scared about living, I feel like, if they were just acknowledged. Not to be a sap or anything, but that's what I've taken away from my short 20 years on this earth so far. I had to work on that before I became, oh, you're a therapist. That is so cool. I feel like also, if you're introverted and you're also a therapist, I feel like you have some insight based on your personal experiences on how people who are introverted or have like other mental issues are actually like viewed upon other people, even though they're just misunderstood because they're so introverted. So I think that that's actually like, I think that's so great that you chose a profession to help people, but not only do that, you're stepping outside of your comfort zone every day. So that's so great. Well, I'm going to get off of this in about 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm going to leave comments here for me to like read right now, and then I can answer any last minute questions of that nature. But I'll also go ahead and put my Instagram in the description box below, well, the chat actually. So that way, if you have any other questions that I didn't answer in this live, I can one answer your DM if you DM me on Instagram, because I'm way more active on that. And just start your message with I was watching your live or something like that, so I know where we were talking about something, so I know like the context. And then, or I'll actually answer it in my next live. I think I definitely want to do this monthly. I really enjoyed this. I really got to know a lot of you, and that makes me super happy. And I hope that this was very insightful for all of you. Thank you so much, Natalia. Oh, thank you so much, Daphne. Okay. I'm just gonna wait for like another minute and see what else. But while I wait for another minute to see if anyone else has any questions, um, here's a laundry list of some things I intend to put out this summer. One, shorter hair, so shorter sister lock hairstyles. My sister has locks that are about shoulder length right now, a little bit longer because she's cut her locks before. I'm gonna use her as a model so that you all can have hairstyles that are more realistic to what your lengths are probably closer to. And then on top of that, just for shits and gigs, I'm gonna probably do a video of me attempting to put a wig on my hair. So imagine me putting all this hair on my head, wig, and then skincare routine, workout routines. I want everyone who is a subscriber to really just, not just focus on how pretty your hair looks. I know you want your hair to look good, but I want everyone to be happier on the inside as well. So we're going to work on that through all the things that I personally do. And that I hope just helps everyone gain confidence and just feel happier. But yeah, that's just a laundry list. And then there's a ton more. But just be aware that I plan on posting at the bare minimum bi-weekly, but I want to actually start posting one video a week. It was really nice chatting with all of you. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my Instagram before I sign off for all of you. Imani Taylor, good. All right, that's my Instagram. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, whether you're across the pond or in the States. I really appreciated everyone's perspectives and their willingness to engage with me in this conversation. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.